Hi YouTube, hi. Pardon my face, the hour is late, and I am on a mission. I have a Roper washing machine. I don't know what model it is, because the sticker is worn away. I will show it to you soon. It's the old-timey kind with the 2 knobs and the 6 little green lights on the front that tell you what part of the cycle it's in. My washing machine has decided to stop before it gets to the rinse cycle. It'll turn on, it'll fill up, it'll agitate, wash clothes, and then it'll stop before it gets to rinse. And it won't go. I've been doing some YouTubing, and I discovered that the culprit is more than likely the lid switch, or the lid lock switch. There are lots and lots of videos about how you troubleshoot, how you remove, replace these things. I won't hash it over too much here. My issue is that every video I've found, that model of washing machine has a switch where there's an obvious ground wire. And there's a well-known bypass for this where you can just jump the 2 hot wires together and take the switch out of the circuit, basically, and the washer will run. It'll think that the lid is locked all the time, and it'll just rinse like it's supposed to. My lid lock switch, has a red, white, and blue set of wires. Again, I don't know what model this is. I went on the Roper website looking for like manuals with schematics and wiring diagrams, and I could not find any. You got operator's manuals, it was like how to keep it clean, that kind of stuff. Nothing with wires on it. Super not helpful. So I'm gonna take it apart. We're gonna play with it and see what works. I regret to inform you that I do not own a stand or clip or anything I can use to secure my phone while I film this. Gonna have to do it one-handed, so I apologize if I'm shaking around a little bit and you can't really see things. But this is the connector that goes into the control board or the control panel in the bullnose of the washing machine. Got our wire that we unclipped from up underneath the lid, and this is the actual switch mechanism that you can pull off the underside of the lid, or the underside of the top panel of the washing machine, rather. And I have been playing with this thing, trying to get it to sit in one position, because I've seen so many videos. No! I've seen videos of people who have zip tied these things in a specific position and gotten them to bypass that way. If you just keep the circuit closed all the time, the washing machine doesn't know the difference. I zip tied it 4 or 5 different ways and couldn't get it to work. So I think the switch itself is actually broken. Or I'm doing something stupid. That's pretty likely as well. But back to the original question, which wire goes where? Which one of these is the ground wire, if there even is one, because some switches are set up where they're not grounded. I'm going to take it apart and try and figure out how it works. Come with me. I just flipped my switch upside down and pieces fell out, so we're off to a great start. What I want to do first is take this cover off so I can see what's going on inside the device. I've already been messing with this, so the first couple are already off. But I'll show you how on the last 2, if you flip it over, you can see there's one up here, there's one down here, and then there were 1, 2, and 3 on the other end. They're just little plastic tabs that fit in a little plastic slot. So I'm going to take my handy dandy baby screwdriver, and I'm going to go up. I don't know if I can do this upside down, I'm sorry. I'm just going to gently pry the tab out of the slot, and if you're looking at yours, it'll be easier to see. Boop. You just need a little bit of clearance. There you go. Here you go, they just pull it out of the slot. Tab, slot. This is what the switch looks like with the cover removed. We took the cover off of this end here. Now there's some moving plastic pieces on here. This here, whole big thing, slides in and out. This little white thing also slides in and out. I think they're supposed to move together. After playing with this for a couple of minutes, I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be something mechanical in there that links them together, and it's not there anymore, or it's worn down, or they're not aligned or something. They're supposed to move in together because this is mounted to the underside of the top cover of the washing machine. So when you close the lid, you have to imagine the lid coming up towards your vision right now. The little plastic bit on the lid that actually locks it fits into this gap. So it comes up through that little hole right there. When it does that, when you close the lid, the little plastic piece on the lid comes up through this gap. It forces, or it's supposed to, I think it's supposed to force both of these this way. So when that happens, you got two things going on. Number one, I'll see if I can't do it. Like I said, everything's one-handed right now. I'm so done with this, I'm just gonna buy a new washer. No! Now the little spring bit's falling apart. No! Not my spring, no! God damn it. Hold on. This was like that. It's like the world's worst Lego set. Lid lock comes down through this hole. Physically forces the black plastic that way. Now I'm going to flip you upside down so you can see the bottom of it. This is the black plastic tab that I was just moving. And you see that little white piece there? The little white rectangle? Mine is being stubborn and only likes to go over that if I jiggle it a certain way. But just to show you, I'm going to push it down. I think what's supposed to happen is as this moves to the side, it goes over the little white rectangle. What that does on the other side is that white rectangle is, focus, this is the other half of the white rectangle, and it makes kind of a stand, so we've just pushed it up. When we pushed it up, it is attached to this little skinny, there you go, this little skinny metal tab. And when I pushed the white plastic rectangle up, that put tension on the skinny little plastic tab, and that's why we have this little angle in it. It was flat before, now it's under tension, it has an angle. So it's acting kind of like a spring right now. So that's thing number one. The other thing that I'm pretty sure is supposed to happen when you push the plastic in, it is also supposed to push this little white tab in. Shoot, there we go. You push the white tab in, see what it's doing to the two little thin pieces of metal? Right now the circuit is open. No electricity is going to flow through that. There's a teeny little gap between the metal contacts. This plastic piece pushes them together, now there's contact, and we complete a circuit. Now the washer knows, hey, my lid is closed. Excuse me? Yeah? Are you done? Can you fix it? You want your 15 seconds of fame? There it is, look. You want to be internet famous? I'm gonna sneeze. Damn it, cat. You can check this, by the way, if you wanted to be really sure what you're seeing, because I know it's hard to see the tiny little pieces of metal up in there. My eyes aren't great. If you have a multimeter or an ohm meter at home, you can hook that up to the white and blue leads and tell right away whether or not you're completing a circuit. I will pull out my handy dandy multimeter. Here we see the leads, very carefully hooked up to the itty bitty little metal contacts in there. And once you've got them in place and you know you're making good contact, don't look at them, don't breathe on them, they'll pop off. Come over to our handy dandy meter. We're checking for resistance. Right now I got an open. The circuit is open, there's nothing or there would be nothing flowing. There's an overload. If I, oh no, if I push and close the circuit, cool, resistance, that's neat. Open, nothing will flow, closed, got a reading. Pretty cool, huh? So that was me checking the blue to white wires, and that was pretty cool. But we still have a problem, and it's this red guy over here. What does that do, and what is it for? Because if I change my setup, now I'm testing between the red and blue wires, I get the same thing. The same exact thing. So blue and white are connected, and we can see that up in the switch. There's a little run of metal all around from blue to white. But they're also connected to the red one. If I change my setup again, and this time check from white to red, I get something different and interesting. This is a short. And it doesn't change if I play with the switch. It doesn't really do anything. So what does it mean? We gotta go deeper. Okay, I went much deeper, and by that I mean I kind of shook all the pieces out of the device. But now you can see where the metal runs are in the plastic housing, so that's kind of cool. I figured out that this little flipper thing on the side is actually one solid piece that connects the white and red wires. So what's going on there? I had to draw myself a picture. I am a picture person. I don't know if I got this right, but I have a hunch, and I think it's good enough for government work. Here's the blue wire, and I'm pretty sure, I'd bet at least a penny, that power's coming in this way. The zippy zaps come in here, and they go up here. And when, this is that little division on the side, right? So when you push the plastic in, when the locking mechanism physically pushes the plastic in, it closes this little switch, completes the circuit, and then power flows up here. This thing is a pretty little coil. Look. What a cutie! Look at that little thing. So I don't know a whole lot about electronics, but there are two things that come to mind when I think of like coiled copper wire. They're transformers and electromagnets. I'm pretty sure that this little doodle acts as an electromagnet. So when when current flows through the coil, it'll build up a little electromagnetic field, probably just a teeny little one. And that'll act like a little bitty magnet. Now, the electricity is still going to flow. It's going to finish the circuit, right? So we can finish our color here. We can go wee that away. I'm pretty sure that the white wire is just a return for this circuit. It's not necessarily a ground. It's just a return. So we just had to complete the path for current to flow. So it's just, I'm pretty sure, just going that way, right? So that's the return. But on its way there, again, we build up a little EMF and we act as a little bitty magnet up here. And the only reason I can think that they might have done that is because it has to be enough of a force to, remember we said this thin little metal piece up here had a bend in it. It was under tension. I'm thinking it might be just enough to pull that flat, okay, to do two things. One is a physical reaction, and the other is to close this switch over here. So if you look very closely at the housing, you can tell that that thin little flipper It's very hard to get it to focus. You see the white plastic rectangle. Just to the right of that is a little brass like fastener. Underneath of that is a little bitty plate. There's a thin little gap between them. I'm pretty sure that's acting as an open switch right now, because on the other side of it, see where my thumb is? That's the little plate right there, and it's connected to our red wire. Okay, so we can draw it out this way. Okay, so there's a little open switch, and if that little thin thing under tension were to pull that way, it closes the switch and current flows back down through the red wire. So what I'm thinking is this circuit here, the blue to white circuit, tells the control board, hey, my door is closed. Once the door is closed, we want to lock it so nobody can open it, which is why we have this in place, pulling this and closing this other circuit. So this coming back down through the red wire to the control board probably tells it, hey, my door is locked. But how do we actually lock it? I got to show you the piece again. Oh, by the way, if I got this right, it's a big if, but if I got this right, I think that explains why when I measured between the blue and white leads, I was getting a resistance reading. When I closed this switch, we finished a circuit, right? So I had a good resistance the whole way, like I've completed one circuit here. Okay. I think this switch seems like it's normally supposed to be open, and in my device, in my switch, I think it's wearing out or it's broken or something. I think this is closed, or there's something going on there, right? This is closed because when I measured from the blue to red wire, I was also getting a resistance reading. We were making a complete path, but all I was doing was pushing this. And so this, it should have read open if this was normal and as it should have been. So I think this guy is the problem, or something up in here is the problem. Also, the fact that every time I look at it or breathe on it, parts fall out of it, that's probably a problem too. But anyway, that would explain why I got like 0.3 ohms between the red and the white leads, right? When I measured here, I shorted them together. They're not supposed to be a path. They're not supposed to be one circuit. These are both one-way streets, if you want to think of it that way. So when I put the meter leads here, I shorted them. Does that make sense? I really hope somebody out there is an electrician or a washing machine repairman or something. If you are an electrician or a washing machine repairman, would you let me know what I'm doing wrong in the comments, please? Thanks. Go in there. It's not a big... Once upon a time, 10 minutes ago, this was very precisely aligned. Okay. We're back together. Are you still there? If you've abandoned this video, I don't blame you. Now we're all back together in the door is closed configuration. I have the black plastic slid to the left, the white plastic slid to the left. We're closing the contacts. We're sending a signal back to the control board, hey, my door is closed. Our little coil is acting like a magnet, and I'm pretty sure the reason it does that is because, remember, when we push the plastic to the left, this little white triangle raised up and put tension on this little arm. The little arm, I think, acts like a little spring. So if it were to be pulled by something, say a magnetic force, back down to its straight position. No! There it goes. That's so not cool. Yeah, when you push it straight down, it releases the black plastic. Black plastic moves to the right, and I think that is what actually locks the piece that's attached to the lid in place, so that you can't get it back open while we're washing. So we got the door to close, we got the door to lock. that doesn't really explain how the switch resets when the wash cycle is all done. Like when rinsing is done and everything's dry and ready to take out, how does it unlock the door? I don't have a clue, man. I guess it could be as easy as like the control panel or the control board saying, I'm gonna stop power to the blue line, but I don't know. I don't think I need to know right now. What I need to know is, which of these wires do I twist together to bypass the switch? That's the big question of the day. Because in all my research, my frantic 2 hours of YouTubing, like I said, I found all these nice videos for washers with different colored wires than mine. And I'd go looking down in the comments, there'd be dozens and dozens of people asking, what do I do if my washer has red, white, and blue wires? And the answer was always, I don't know. It's okay, guys. I'm here for us. What I'm gonna do, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, actually, there are two things I could do. I'll show you both of them real fast. Assuming that the rest of your switch is operable, you could take, see our little switch here? See how we have two pieces of metal and they're open right now? You could take this apart and lay this one inside of this one. So instead of being a little bit separate, they're always laying against each other. They're always closing a path. That would always tell the control panel, hey, my door is closed. I don't think that it would lock, though. I don't think it would tell it, hey, my door is locked, because then we'd have to do something about this switch as well. So I've seen videos where people have bypassed it this way by swapping these around. I didn't see them address this side, so I'm not really sure about that one. Also, to get to this point, to try this one, you would have to take the washing machine covers off. You'd have to remove the switch entirely. You'd have to take the switch apart. And so it just depends on how much time and patience you have. It'd be a little bit of a hassle to do this one. What I'd like to do is cut these wires, and then I'm going to jump the blue one to the red one. Coming back to our awesome little schematic here, I'm going to cut the wires. I could take the blue one and twist it to the white one. And what that would do is, if I got this right, all of these come with huge, huge ifs. This might tell the control panel, hey, my door is closed all the time, which is great. But if the door is closed, then the machine is going to want it to be locked as well. So what I'm going to do is jump the blue to the red one. And what I'm thinking is, that is going to say, hey, my door is closed and it's locked. My door is closed and it's locked all the time. Then I could just remove the physical plastic pieces that lock the door and never have to worry about them again. Stripping wires and putting anything like that. Long time since. You're back. Hi. Are you here to help? It's been a long time since I've done anything electrical. That's a good thing, as I'm sure you can tell. Red and blue are together now. This white one, I'm making a big assumption here, as I've been doing this whole time, but pretty sure there's no power flowing into this. It would have been a return, so I could probably leave it here, just open like that, but I got extras. I'll put a cap on it too. Just 'cause. Safety first. Pop a little lid on it. Gets damp in the garage, you know. That's where my washer and dryer are, in the garage. Gets damp out there, you know. Okay, cool. Um, let's go plug it in and hope I don't burn my house down. Hello and welcome to the garage. I wish I could show this to you in better lighting, but I just don't have any here. I'm sorry. First things first, for safety purposes, the machine is unplugged. There's no electricity going into it right now. I have the back panel taken off of the console so you can see all the fun stuff that's up inside there. This white plastic thing with all the doodads sticking out of it, that's the control board. It's kind of like the processor. Tells everything else what to do. So we got a blue, we got a rainbow, and then this little gap here is where the lid lock switch unplugged from in the first place. I might have it upside down. I can't see what I'm doing. And hold you with one arm at the same time. I'll be back. Hold on. Okay, we got her plugged back in where it's supposed to go. The other end just hanging out right here. Now I'm going to plug it in, fire it up, and see what happens. This is my washer. That's all I know about it because it doesn't have a model on it. Let's see. Cool, so nothing caught on fire, and that's good. I now have a completely different issue. I tried doing the recalibration thing where you rotate and then you go 3 clicks and a click and a click and go, and it started blinking like a Christmas tree and I don't know what it means and I'm scared. Anyway, now it won't fill up. It just tells me the lid is locked and I'm like, yes, I know the lid is locked. I made it so. So anyway, tune in next week when I call a washer repair person and yeah, I tried. Okay, well, you know, it's not the first time I've washed laundry by hand in my bathtub, and it won't be the last. I don't know what the washer wants at this point. I don't know, maybe because it doesn't have a load on it right now, like a load on the circuit. I don't know how sophisticated the sensing circuitry in the board is. I don't know. I've tinkered all I can at this point. I don't have a clue, which is where I started, not having a clue.
Morning. I don't know why I didn't think of this last night. I got one more option, by the way. I don't know, I was crying like, I'm gonna call somebody. Fix it. Before I call somebody, I'm gonna go back to plan A and try to jump the white to the blue wire and see what happens. Oh, thank the old gods and the new. She fills. All I have in there right now is a hat. So it's not gonna fill very much, but it fills. Yay.
No, it's angry again. Okay, I think I figured it out though. So it won't start filling and washing unless it thinks the lid is closed. Right now, it thinks the lid is closed, so it was like, yeah, you can have some water. But it won't rinse unless the lid is locked because the rinse cycle spins it really, really fast and it's a safety concern. So now we got to figure out a way to make it think that the lid is also locked.
Okay, glad I left myself some extra tail on these. I think what I want to do is put the blue and the red wires together and then pop the white wire in the middle. That should be easy, right? Right? No, I'll see you in 2 hours.
God, this is
So ugly. I'm sorry. But do you mind? Really? You're in the light. Oh, that's really ugly. I'm sorry. What I'm trying to do is, now I got the blue wire connected to the red wire, and I left myself a little bit of a pocket in the middle there so I could slip the third wire, the white one, through, and then tighten that down as well. All right, here's where we're at now. It's not a very pretty piece of work, but I think it'll do. I'm going to electrical tape the crap out of this, and then we'll see if it works. And since this is such a teeny little bit of wire, I'm gonna see if I can't, I'm gonna see if I can't take my electrical tape and split it lengthwise up the middle to make it easier for me to wrap around these tiny little connections. We'll see. My hands shake, so nothing at this scale is really easy. All right, that looks a little better, huh? Let's go plug it in and find out. This is intensely frustrating because I know what needs to happen now, but I can't make it happen with the stuff I have laying around my house. So if you have the red and the blue wire together, and then you have the white one in the middle, you've got all of them together, the machine comes up with the lid lock light on. And I don't know what's going on in its little processor, but it's clearly confused. It's like, well, if the lid's locked, how are you putting laundry in me or something? Also, I think it's probably more likely on a timer, right? The wash cycle lasts for so long and then it kicks into the rinse cycle. But if it's getting this red wire signal too early, then it's like, wait a minute, the timing is off. That's probably, I need something that can switch this red wire into the blue and white circuit. Now I've seen one YouTube video where somebody took a spare electrical light, like a light switch, and wired this up to it, and that seemed to work. The thing is, you have to like walk into the garage, and every time you hit a rinse cycle, you got to go flip the switch, but it'll work for a little bit. I don't have a light switch just laying around, and I don't want to go buy a new one if I only need this to work for a day or two until I can get the new part in the mail. So I started thinking, well, can I build one? Not really. Switches are simple, right? I need something that goes like that, but something I can touch safely, something that I can make go like that. And there are all these cool little videos on YouTube. Oh, you can build your own little switches at home, push switches, slide switches. But all of those are intended for like very low voltage DC circuits. They're for like kids to learn how electricity works. They are not for 120 volts AC in an appliance. So I will not be DIYing a switch to pop in here because I don't want to cook myself. I know when I'm bested. So what I'm going to do is just return this to its white-blue configuration, so at least I can get the machine to wash clothes. I'm going to continue rinsing them by hand, and then thank God my dryer still works until the new one gets here. That was always the intention, by the way. I wanted to know how this bypass thing worked, which is why I'm playing with it, but the goal from the start was to put a Band-Aid in the system until I could get the new switch ordered and just put a whole new switch in. You really shouldn't be DIYing, it's a major appliance with high voltage running through it. It really should have all of its original parts and pieces in there and nothing taped together. This, I don't know how long this would last if I used it
on a regular basis, it might melt down and burn things that I don't want. So we're replacing the switch. That was clear from the start. But now we have some valuable information about how to make it run a little bit until I can get to that point. So thank you for hanging out with me on this like roller coaster of a repair adventure. I know it's not the answer that a lot of you were looking for, but at least we learned some things. So that's good. Anyway, have a good day. Bye.